local planning, which is a very broad concept. It's not always called planning. It can be called anything about local development, but all, you could say, activities that most normally governments, but it could also be more like NGOs and other actors, what they are doing when they are taking some actions and they are thinking about and working with how should this community develop in the future. This is planning. And from my research, I see that how local communities plan is so important when it comes, especially these demographic changes. How should they deal with it? How should it meet it and approach it? Yes.
But is it a Norwegian thing or it's related to probably all of Europe?
It's related to all of Europe, mostly all of Europe. There are, of course, very different patterns all around Europe, and there are studies showing that who have, for example, divided shrinking into different categories, different types of shrinking. There's a lot of interesting literature showing the different types of demographic changes, but there is also a lot of common things, like this depopulation and the aging, which is the two most important things, and how this could affect the areas. And it's mostly the rural areas, including most mountain areas, who experience this.
You were mentioning about innovative planning and innovation altogether in planning for shrinking communities. Does this involve, I think you called it to break away with the established practices and seek new social perspectives? Would you elaborate on this?
Yes. You could say that the way most local communities and governments, etc., has worked with planning and development has been very growth oriented. It's a key thing because most planning and development, local and regional, are directed towards growth, traditional growth. Growth in both population and in the economy is normally the standard goals for local planning and development. And this is, of course, something important. But when you are trying to plan and develop the communities within the context of demographic changes, which they will happen in most places anyhow, then you need to think about and to more turn your attention to the population which are there, which lives there, and think about what is important for those people having good lives, like health, like life quality, etc. This includes also the economy, of course, because in the economy of both you could say both the governments, but also for the families also need to be work well to have a good society. So it's not about excluding economic goals, but it's all to think more broadly about it, because we know that there are so many things which are important for people having good lives.
Oh, you were talking also about participation, public participation, and subsequently about collaboration. And I was raising the issue during the course that how do you do when people are not they do not appear to be very willing in collaborating and participating in public matters.
No.
What do we do in these cases?
Yeah. You have to work differently than most have done so far. Mostly they put an ad in the newspaper or on the internet, or put up some posters around, welcome, come to us. It's not enough. You need to meet them beforehand, talk to them, invite them, maybe personally, and to do other things to motivate them, you know. But this also is connected to that you must have thought through that they should actually have an influence on what is done in this planning process, because people are motivated, much more motivated, if they know, well, we will have something to say, they will listen to us. So it's not only that planners and politicians sit in here and then they do as they want anyhow. It cannot work in that way. So this is important you must think this through from the beginning to the end. No, there is a lot of issues related to mobility, because, you know, most like public transport and other kinds of mobilities they have some thresholds for which they can still be functioning. So this is one of the key like services and infrastructures which are under threat when the population decreases. And also when the population gets older, you need to really think about the mobility for that part of the population. So, for instance, in Norway, they are thinking much more about motivating the older people to actually move into the small local centers, where you can actually does not have this high demands of transport infrastructure out to the really remote areas, and also, you know, also have so that they can be mobile by much easier by walking and by shorter distances, for example. And also here new modern technology comes into play, where you can have like not the standard buses, but also, you know, like taxis and buses which comes on demand. You have a lot of exciting things happen in this kind of mobility technology, which can be used in rural areas as well.
Now, let's hit the professor with other questions.
Okay. During our master's degree here in Agder, we have been figuring out how to integrate innovation and sustainable development in mountain areas. Sometimes it was difficult to introduce new ideas in small villages. Can you give us some tools and ideas according to your experience in how to deal with these things?
Yeah, well, my main tool is actually how you do the process. As I was talking about in my lectures, these processes are organized in a way where different people meet and sit around the same table discussing things with each other, like in this collaborative way, and you get ideas. If you talk with a farmer, maybe you never have talked with a farmer earlier, it can give you some new way of thinking about how you do your things. It can release a lot of innovative thinking. And I think also it's not only about coming up with ideas, they have to be, it must be possible to implement them. And then if just ideas comes from somebody outside, just telling you, you can do this new thing, it's very difficult. But if people have been working on develop them themselves, it's much greater chance that they will take some action and try to actually do it. So I think that's a key in many small societies to actually make innovation happen. In what I've been talking about now, connected to this depopulation and changes in age structure, they are strongest felt. It happens mostly and most strongly in rural areas in Europe. So that's why we have been focusing on rural areas. But you know, the methods, the general method with using collaboration and trying to be innovative, and the importance of participation, it's just as important and relevant, of course, in other geographical settings. And then, you know, I guess in urban areas, then it's a big question is what part of the city should we then focus on? Who should participate in here in this part? And you had to do it because it would be impossible to do it for a big city as a whole, you know. So you had to think a little different about that. But we have been discussing like the more general value of this kind of planning approach, and it's also could not only be connected to the demographic changes, but also the more environmental and ecological changes which happen. So you could have the starting point could just as well be the ecological frames and the environmental changes, and that we need to how to also there both to adapt, you know, and also to mitigate as much as we can.
Well, maybe it's not a question, but I would like you to ask if you can give us a message, because sometimes it's difficult for us young people to get our place here in this development of mountain areas, because we don't find we are so energetic. We are young people, and we like to help rural communities and mountain areas, but sometimes we don't find how.
No.
Can you give us a clue?
Oh, wow. Well, I think just I talked to Laura, you know, who has moved back to a small village, and from a bigger village or town here, and have started not only on working with you know, research, which is important. This is some way to help what you actually do in your masters, etc. It's to have relevant knowledge is one way you could help. Laura was also talking that she more in addition she helps different organizations to apply for grants for local projects, social projects. So it's to really engage in, I think you need to engage in something that you yourself think is interesting and important. You have to have this inner motivation, I think, to be able to put the right energy into it. And then also I think it's, at least for me, and to work with people from in different ages, work with also the older people. There is so much to learn, which you as youths can bring, you know, and bring into the new ages. So I hope this was something to think about.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I hope we have some sound.
Yeah.
It's always so. This is basically our first thing that we do for our, call it video, audio, podcasting, whatever.
Yeah.
It's literally the first one.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a premiere. You're the actual premiere.
Season 1, episode 1.
Yes. Episode 1 dedicated to.
It's an honor.
Yes,
It's an honor.
yes. For us as
For
well.
us as
Yeah.
And we learned the lesson. Never do it outside. Okay?
No, but I love the environment.
So you have established.
We gotta get into the shot, because
You
the
have
shot is around
established a
here.
group. We will work.
It started out organically. Yes. Literally.
Say that it's sort of a work in progress. We're
Yeah,
just
that's
starting,
good.
so
That's good. That's good.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Thank
good,
you.
Good.
I don't think we were all in the shot.